Welcome on Drive, everyone. I hope you guys have had a good night's sleep if you're in the States and wherever you are in the world, and very happy to have you. Brian's on camera with me, Alex is an FC. Unfortunately, Mark is not out this afternoon. We weren't able to rectify the problem in the Wendy, and sorry, big noise in my ear. Let me just turn that off for a second. So what we did is, because we didn't get our full safari dose this morning, Brian and I headed out quite early, so we're quite far from camp already, and we went and we picked up male leopard tracks, and they were heading south. The last track's just probably about 100 meters from here, and it went off the road, it looks like, into the Mulwati drainage. So we're going to shoot round, drop into the drainage, check through there. If we get no tracks through there, then I'll probably go have a little walk into these thickets over here to see if we can find the leopard. So welcome, and let's get going. Okay, copy. I'm going to keep following up on these tracks that we've got around Twin Dams at the moment. It looks like to be an adult male, and if I have no luck here, I will like to come join you a bit later. So we'd be guessing that those tracks should come down somewhere around here, if you carried on that line. No tracks coming into the drainage line. Very interesting. Okay, well, we know about a little shortcut road that pops out of the drainage line just up ahead. Let's check a little bit further. So no tracks in the drainage line. I'm going to check these thickets as we drive through very carefully. Nothing inside. I'm just going to have a closer look. show everyone the tracks we're following there. There you can see the leopard tracks. Now we just need to find a leopard attached to his tracks. I saw the last track. There's lots of impala around here, so it was obviously quite a bit earlier in the day. Bachelor group. I'll be back in 2 ticks. Just gonna have a quick sniff around the bush over here. So I'm just going to do a bit of a wider loop, maybe go down to our southern boundary, check the drainage line there. If not, head back up towards Weaver's Nest. I don't know if you guys all heard those oxpeckers. As soon as I got off the car, I started alarm calling, letting everyone know that there's a predator walking around. Back past us. You could have. That's on. I've got his trucks here. Going straight. Okay. Sorry, Doug. The biggest hazard for us is buffalo. Actually, they are probably the most dangerous animal for us walking on foot. Those old buffalo bulls. Sometimes they're a bit deaf. They don't hear you approaching, and then all of a sudden you see them and they see you at the last minute, and they can be quite aggressive. I've been chased up a tree a few times by buffalo, but generally, as long as you're careful and respectful, and you use all your senses, your eyes, your hearing, your smell, because you can smell fresh buffalo dung, you can smell fresh elephant dung. That keeps you safe. And like with most things, the most important thing is just don't panic. If you panic or run, you're guaranteed to be in trouble. The most important rule in the bush is whatever you do, don't run if you're on foot. You run, you start behaving like prey species, things will chase you. Okay. Just want to double check the side of the road again, because it is a busy road, the boundary roads, access roads to a lot of the properties in this area, so it gets driven quite a lot, so it's possible the trucks get driven over. So I just want to double check very carefully this little section. Especially here where there's a natural animal path coming out. Okay. Just double check. Can't be too sure. Also, this light makes traffic tracking a little bit difficult. Don't have those nice little shadows to play on the tracks, so you have to just look that extra bit carefully. And I mean, I already missed a track there, so I don't want to miss another one. Okay. Stand by, Alex, I can't hear you at the moment. were the Matimbas located at all this morning? I do not know, but I'm pretty sure they have by this stage. They've been out of the Sabi Sands in the Manuleti Game Reserve, but I'm pretty sure they have. I know they have been seen since then. Just give me a little bit, I'll ask one of the guides who operates in that area if they look well fed or not a little bit later. Oh, leopards like to make us go around in circles. Okay, here's the last track. Boom, 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 and he goes straight that way. So guys, just give me, I won't be gone long, a couple of minutes. I'm just going to have a quick look here. All these tracks are fresh. Not a dove track on them, no insect tracks over them. Go this way. I'm so sure he crossed right there because his tracks turn suddenly and go down that game path. Yeah. There. There's nothing coming out in this nice soft sand over here. But I wasn't able to find anything in the thicket. I'm just double checking again. There's a track here. Oh, he's giving us a hard time today. It is possible because he might have crossed that big main road, and with all the vehicles up and down I might have missed the track. So we're going to move out of the area and go see what else we can find. Cracker. Yeah, no luck in the block there. I mean, it is possible that those tracks got tired somewhere in Gary made and I might have missed them. Good luck. One last little dash around. Just want to check that main road extra carefully. No such luck. Has anyone seen the Kunyimas recently?
We got them last night. They said he found more tracks up in Buckles still.
Did it look like they'd eaten?
Not last night. No.
Not last night, but yeah.
When we saw them yesterday afternoon.
Still hungry. Ish.
For a long time.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, well, enjoy. I think
Where's Lex got up?
I'm sure it's Kunyuma. This is quarantine we're following, yeah.
He hasn't crossed back into
Yeah, because we had him this morning for most of the drive, and then we found the tracks coming from Chelepan straight from where we left him this morning.
Okay.
Anyway,
Alright.
good luck.
Yeah, spot you later.
Cheers. So I don't know if you guys heard that. There was a question about whether the English have eaten. Not last night, but I'm sure they have eaten something since the last time we saw them. With a pride that size, if they catch something small like an impala, it's going to be gone in an instant, and they're all going to have some sustenance, but they're definitely not going to look full. One last gasp. Maybe he crossed over the drainage line up to where we found him the other day, onto Leadwood Road. Bingo! Craig, come on. Yeah, I've got that in Konza again. It comes out of the drainage onto Gowrie Main, heading east. Crossed. And then it crosses back north into the block. From. Right, he's going straight up the road. Well, good spot, Brian. Brian's going to be a tracker soon, guys. There we go. Got his tracks up on the left-hand side of the road. So what happened is it looks like through that dip, there's been a lot of vehicles, and he managed to, his tracks got driven over, but we've got them again now. Still your side? Or is he walking in the middle now? Just to prove difficult. I don't have any tracks. Check the app first. Might as well. He's got tracks. Good spot. Now we just gotta hope he turns north. Still tracks there? Yeah. There you go. Oh, these are smoking hot tracks. They are so fresh. So how we tell that they're so fresh is that the edges are really, really crisp. There's no tracks of like birds or millipedes or other animals on top. Except on this road, there's quite a lot of car tracks on top, which does make it quite difficult sometimes. As you go in here. Keep going. He does. Keeps going. Okay, I don't have any more tracks. We'll check up to Cheetah Cut Line. Quite often it seems that's quite a popular route with the leopards and say, I'll go here and then cut north, preferably, or cut south. Just gonna check south first. Oh dear. Is that his tracks there? Maybe he came in off this little link road here, off the fire break. Running?
Yeah, they ran from this direction.
From here?
Yeah.
They came from here.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, let's go for it. This is a very bad area. There he is. Boom. Quarantine. Looks like. We've located this Madode Ingwe, very close to the Oldham Nisikaya off Chillicut line. It looks like Mr. Q. I think it's not the same tracks we're originally following. This is looks like the same male we had this morning. He's mobile at the moment. He's heading east in the block. Here we go. Another nice long track. Can't let them make it too easy for us. As I was saying, you could tell those tracks were really fresh by the fact that there was no sort of other animal prints on top of it. Also, there's always a little bit of wind, even on quite a still day. That will rough the edges a little bit, smoothen them almost. And so those tracks were literally crystal clear. I mean, and also when they're really fresh, the dirt's a slightly different color, just a shade darker, the dirt that's sort of underneath the top layer of soil. try to get around ahead of him. Watch out, man. Sorry if you hear a few clicks, guys, just be my camera. That definitely is the quarantine mouth. Don't go that way. Go that way. Yes, that's the right way. Oh, he's such a beautiful animal. Fortunately, we are on our boundary. He is walking across it. Well, we'll stay with him while we can from here. He might change his mind. We've seen him change direction many times before. Oh, spotted by a squirrel. This animal is crossing east into Torchwood on the fire break, parallel to Gowrie Main. $50 meters. I've still got visual from Cheetah Cut Line at the moment. Yeah. Andrew, he's changed direction. He's heading now south from that position towards Gari Main, probably 60 meters to the east of the lodge signs. Alex, if you have any questions, now's a good time. Water. Thirsty way of tracking leopards. If you've got any questions, now's a good time. Oh, there he's disappeared. Oh, good afternoon, class 911 from Switzerland. Welcome on Game Drive with us. Class 911 would like to know what happens if our car breaks down. Just hang on 1 second. Just stand by one, I'll be in about 2 minutes. Just with a leopard will attack us if we break down or stop right in front of the leopard. No, not at all. Unless we really threaten the leopard to drive, harass it, and really annoy the leopard, the leopard will completely ignore us. Sorry, I just need to take this on the radio here. Peter, come in. Very well in yourself. Hey, Firm, I just watched him cross into Hoffman's, about 70 meters to the east of the Cheetah Plains and Nkoro signs. No problem. And then I think Lex has got Kunyuma up at Gari Dam. Okay, let's go see what else we can find. I always like to start my drives with the leopard, if possible. We are spoiled for leopards here in the Sabi Sands. What we can do now, I think we'll go maybe have a look around Buffelshoek Dam, where there was that big herd of elephants that Mark had this morning, and then we went, oh, you're very lucky, little warthogs running off into the bush. Yeah, and they stopped there. And 2 little babies with them as well. And warthogs, oh, they're gonna run. Warthogs are definitely one of the leopard's favorites, especially baby ones. I don't know, those of you who watch regularly remember when Scott was on camera with me, probably a couple of weeks ago now, we filmed those warthogs coming out of a hole, and that's just down here. And that leopard actually walked past that den, so he was 5-10 minutes too early. He would have caught them coming home. So I said we're going to maybe make our way towards Buffelshoek Dam area and see if we can find that big herd of elephants that all the nice little babies in. Brian and I went and spent some time after the Wendell stopped working with them as well. Such a nice big herd. Very, very relaxed as well. actually quite a nice temperature for us at the moment. It's a little bit overcast. It's not too warm and humid. It's a nice little breeze. Another tough day in the office for us. Sorry, go get in the game drive channel was talking. Well, it seems that Alex says there's quite a lot of comments when I have my eau de lapin on. Obviously, I didn't roll around in the buttered popcorn for long enough this afternoon. I'll make sure tomorrow morning I spend at least half an hour bathed in buttered popcorn. Well, another question from class 911 in Switzerland. Afternoon, guys, again. They would like to know whether I've ever seen an animal giving birth in the wild. Yes, I've been very, very lucky. I've seen quite a few different animal species give birth. I've seen impala, I've seen wildebeest, I've seen zebra, buffalo, springbok, what else? Elephant, rhino, actually that's another one. What else have I seen giving birth? I'm sure that I'm missing one or two. Oh, bushbuck is another one that I've seen giving birth. So I've been quite lucky. The reason I've seen so many things like that is that I've been very, very lucky. I've literally grown up in the bush most of my life. And even from the ages of about 1 to 5 or 6, I lived on our family's game farm. We didn't have elephants and lions and things like that, but we had leopard and all giraffe and there's another one I've seen giving birth, giraffe, and a lot of general game. And then from about the age of 5, my dad started a project in northern Zululand, and that was a big 5 reserve. So from that age we were living in the middle of a game reserve that had lions, leopards, elephants, rhinos, cheetahs, wild dogs, hyenas, and we were there for quite a while. And then in my sort of early teens we moved up to northern Botswana and we lived in the Okavango Delta. So one of the most iconic wildlife areas of the world. And since then I've been all over Africa working in the wildlife industry. Satellite ears constantly scanning the bush for noises. Itchy ear. Could we have a highly developed sense of hearing, smell and sight? The grey ghost. Okay, well, we'll leave them to carry on, and we will trundle on our merry way. So it would be very nice if Kunyumas would grace us with their presence and cross from the north. They weren't found this morning. They were seen last night. I feel like I haven't seen them in an age. Off into the round leaf teak. Oh, sorry, Susan, back to your question. Out of the mammal species, then definitely Ethiopia for Ethiopian wolf, simian fox, mountain Inyala, what else is really? And then from the bird side in Ethiopia, Prince Raspoli's Turako, Nifba, Nightjar, there's so many. Ethiopia is just, I haven't spent any time up there, and I'd really love to go to Ethiopia and spend quite a substantial amount of time there. Oh, sorry, corrugations. I know, although I've seen lowland gorillas, I still haven't seen the mountain gorillas, so I'd definitely do that if I got the opportunity. Wow, quite a clear day. I'm just going to go a little bit further forward and then ask Brian to show you the Drakensberg Mountains in the distance. I'm not, if my memory serves me correct, it's the longest mountain range in Africa. And on average, the highest mountain range in Africa. It's not the doesn't hold the highest mountain. Obviously, that's the two highest mountains in Africa, Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. But it's on average the highest mountain range in Africa and the longest. Runs all the way from the Eastern Cape and Lesotho right up to near the Zimbabwe border. What is that all the way down there? Oh, there's quite a lot of elephant tracks crossing north. Hopefully it's not that big herd we're looking for. Good afternoon, Gilly from Wisconsin. Welcome on Drive. Whoopsie, sorry, trying to avoid that branch, the antenna. Gilly says I've lived in so many different countries. Which one do I call home? Just 1 second, I think I just heard something, Gilly. I'll be back with that question in a second. Look in front of us there. Oh, female bushbuck. One of my favorite animals. Bushbuck. Out of the antelopes. Well, at the moment, Gary, I call this part of the low veld of South Africa my home. I actually live not too far from Djuma. Probably as the crow flies, 50 miles or so, maybe not even that far. But that's for now, and that could change next week. Who knows? While we grew up, my family moved a lot as well, and we never saw moving as a bad thing. We always saw it as an exciting thing to a new adventure. And with my family, it generally was a new adventure. I've got a bad feeling all those elephant trucks we saw crossing the road were the big herd from this morning crossing into Buffalo's Hook. Always know when we're coming up to a dam where there's going to be buffalo bulls, we start being mauled by flies. We need a nice big cold snap to get rid of them. They are a very minor irritation and easy to put up with just for being able to do what we do. Oh, Eddie's rearranging our roads again. I'm just gonna try and move it off the road a little bit just quickly. Go. A little bit off the road. At least we can pass without having to duck and dive now. Oh, and another one. But I think that one we can just hop over. There he is, the lone buffalo bull at Buffalo's Hook Dam. Well, quite an aptly named spot. Buffalo's Hook, basically translated from Afrikaans to English, means buffalo corner. So there was a question asked earlier on Drive about dangers of walking. And these old buffalo bulls are the biggest danger of walking. Can be quite cantankerous. From a vehicle they're completely fine, it's on foot. And that's because they do recognize man as a predator. We have been the dominant diurnal predator for the last 150 to 200,000 years. And there have been bipedal predators on the African savannas for the last 500,000 to 1 million years, or actually I lie, longer, 2 million years, bipedal predators. But actively sort of capable of hunting an animal like a buffalo, probably the last 500,000 years. In the old which is a very impressive feat. Just trying to see, I can hear a bird calling. I'm just trying to oh, there's a few more we didn't see. So he's not the lone buffalo bull.
Not a good angle.
Not a good angle, okay. Good afternoon. You just confused me completely. Please go again. Good afternoon, Marsha from Louisville, Kentucky. Marsha would like to know, is Kruger the closest place to see gazelles? The Kruger and Sabi Sands are open to each other. There's no fence line. The animals can roam between the two. Neither have gazelle. The closest thing to a gazelle in southern Africa is called a springbok, and it only lives in the arid areas in the north and western parts of the country. It's also South Africa's national animal. But gazelles are traditionally further north in Africa, and there are some desert gazelle species in North Africa as well. But no, there are no gazelles in this part of South Africa. So, and what was the next part that continued? You see those, Brian? Whoa! No, this is a... They're a bit old. Just hang on, sorry, Alex. Let's just have a look. Let's check Kunyuma and South. Sorry, guys. I'll get to that question now, Alex. We've got another set of leopard tracks. Also looks to be a male. Just want to check on the soft sand here how fresh they are. Yeah, they are quite fresh. Not as fresh as the tracks we were following earlier. These are probably from sometime during the morning. Okay, you can go with that question, Alex. Trucks of Madoda Ingwe heading south from Buffalo. So I'm going to follow up for a short while. Sorry, Buffalo Dam. Alex, can you go with that question, please? Good evening, Miss Jacobs' class. Oh, there's some elephants arriving. We're just going to change our position. Tristan in Miss Jacobs' class would like to know, how long does a buffalo live for? Well, Tristan, normally around 15 to 20 years, depending. So there's some elephants on their way, so we're just going to get ourselves nice down and low, opposite them. Just going to wait here for the elephants to arrive. So Tristan, animals in the wild, their lifespans are very difficult to put a sort of real exact number on, because as soon as an animal gets sort of old, like these buffalo, they become more vulnerable to things like lions. Here we go, here come the Ellies. Baby's not quite as small as the one we saw this morning. Probably about a year old, the smallest one. And the other one just over a year. Oh, probably, yeah. Let me get the book out, because there's a nice way to show people how to age elephants in this book. So, it's unlikely that both those calves are hers. The smaller one probably is. What happened is the rest of them could be coming, or they've been split from the rest of the herd, and they do sometimes split, and they will catch up with them. Very sweet. We're just going to keep quiet. She should come down to the water shortly. Oh. What she's doing there is just shaking her head, informing us that she's quite big and strong and we shouldn't mess with her. She's a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm just going to give her a little bit more space. No, now we can't move. Now we just have to sit tight. So if we had to move now, we could incite aggression in her. So we just sit still, and I'll try to keep my voice as neutral and as calm as possible, ensuring that we're not trying to pose a threat towards her. There we go. I love it when they do that. They get an almost water walk. So they speed up as they get close to the water. It's amazing how dexterous their trunks are. beautiful scene. Probably what's happening is all those tracks of the big herd we saw crossing, they're going to be trying to follow and catch up after they've had a drink. Might have just got separated for a short while while they're feeding. They're probably, I think they're going to walk towards us when they're finished drinking. So when they come past us, she might shake her head at us or lift her head. And all she's doing is just reminding us that she's a big animal and we shouldn't take any chances annoying her. There we go, you can see the head almost immediately lift. She's just reminding us that she's big and strong and we mustn't cause any trouble with her and her babies. And because we stayed still and kept calm and didn't react badly, she would just continue on. Okay, I'm sure quite a lot of you wonder how to age elephants, so we'll have a quick look in my, what they joke around and call the mammal Bible. Where is it? There we go. If you have a look in the bottom right corner, so at the top A, adult female, so that would be 20 and above years. B is probably a sub-adult, around 15 years. C, 6 years old. D, around 2 years old. And then when they're still around the height of the mom's belly, and below there will be below a year or an infant. It's a very basic way of aging, but it's what a lot of people use as their general aging for elephants. Yeah, look back. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, long legs. Sometimes a problem in these cars. Only Brian and I at Wild Earth seem to have that problem. We're the only two long people. This leopard trucks head straight down this big path there, so I'll go around, check Nyala Road and the drainage systems.
Okay. All right.
Cheers, good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a nice little elephant interlude. Such wonderful animals. And if you know how to read their behavior and you respect them, there's no need to be too scared of them. The problem is a lot of people get scared, react, make noise, rev their car, stuff like that. And that's all aggressive sounds to an elephant. Or to any animal. I mean, revving a car is a very aggressive sound. So it causes them to either run away or behave aggressively, obviously neither of which we want, because we want to watch them. Good afternoon, Sandy from Georgia. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Sandy would like to know whether elephants have one set of tusks throughout their life, or do the little babies lose a set of tusks and then a more permanent set comes through later. Sandy, they only have one set of tusks throughout their life, so the tusks will grow continuously up until their death. They do, however, have 6 sets of teeth. And when they get to the last set of teeth, which is between the ages of around 50 and 60 years old, they generally will die because they start lacking condition. They're not able to crunch up the vegetable matter they're eating. And that's generally how an elephant moves on, is from, well, never normally from starvation before it gets to that stage. Quite often they'll just be too weak and they'll fall in the water and drown, is quite a common one. Or one of the predators will find them in that weakened state. Or stuck in the mud is another common one. And then drowning again. Guys, I'm just going to have a very quick look down in this drainage line to see if that other set of male leopard tracks we found up there come out. I'm not going to spend too much time because we already have seen a leopard this evening, but I can't help myself, I have to check. It also helps for tomorrow morning if we don't have anything, knowing the general direction of where the animals are going. listen to this. Yeah, I'll be back in 2 ticks. I'm just going to check up in this drainage line here. Drainage lines at this time of the day are always a bit fun because the buffalo like to hang around them. But I'm not going to be gone for long and I won't go too far. Well, no tracks, guys, but it's always worth just having a look. Even if we don't find, I know what his general direction is if we need to start looking tomorrow morning again. stations. I've been off my vehicle for a short while, doing any updates in the last 5 to 10. Are there any stations with that position off Gari Cut line? It's definitely one of my favorite roads on Djuma, both Kunyuma Road north and south. And this little drainage system's been very productive for me since I've been here. This is where we found, a bit further down is where we found Kunyuma with a bushbuck kill, and we've seen then we also tracked and we followed quarantine into the same drainage line. It's a good leopard spot. Alice, if you got any questions, you can send them through. So those tracks of those elephants we saw crossing our northern boundary, there's definitely that big herd from this morning. You can see all their tracks coming up here, and I think those 3 we saw there were definitely stragglers from that larger group. Sorry, go again. Oh, good afternoon, Mike in Toronto. Mike is asking, is this live? Yes, Mike, by a few seconds, you are live with us on safari in Djuma Private Game Reserve, in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve in South Africa. It is part of an open system of about 2.7 million hectares, which is, my hectare to acre is terrible, but just generally double. So over 5 million acres of unfenced wilderness. Obviously there's different pieces within that, and we were in the probably or just below the center and right in the west of that large wilderness area. The Sabi Sands Game Reserve is one of the oldest private game reserves in terms of the fact that it's been doing safari tourism in South Africa. Whoops. Good evening, Billy from Florida. Billy would like to know why that small elephant we just saw at Buffelshoek Dam only had a single tusk. More than likely it broke it feeding. So like people, elephants are left or right tusked rather than left or right handed, and they do break them quite regularly while feeding. Or it was the slightly bigger one was a young male. He could have also broken it, sparring or play fighting with another young male. Pretty sure, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure about that. Oh, good evening, Raisa in Finland. Raisa is staying in Finnish, it's called a red gazelle, because it belongs to the that's gonna get my tongue. Oh, we got some more buffalo bulls. Well, we'll stop next to the buffalo bulls and I'll get out the mammal Bible. But even though they might be called a red gazelle, they are not actually a gazelle. They might belong to the same family. They all belong to the subfamily Bovidae, but I'll get it out for you. So, Racer, to answer your question there, or clarify, they are all under the order Artiodactyla, which is even-toed ungulates, which also includes pigs and hippos and giraffe, deer, and Bovidae, which is most antelopes. And under Bovidae, so antelopes, Bovidae, will under them fall wildebeest, hartebeest, bontebok, blesbok, sesame, duikers, springbok, klipspringer, dikdik, oribi, steenbok, kruisbok, sunni. So they are not a true gazelle, even though they fall under one of the subfamilies. Even a springbok is not a true gazelle, so it's the closest thing to a gazelle we have in southern Africa. Good evening, Geraldine from the UK. Geraldine says when we see bushbuck, it's generally by themselves. Or is this not true and they live in a group and we just don't see the other individuals? And what is their social structure? Their social structure is very similar to Inyala and Kudu. There'll be multiple females that will share a same home range. Sorry, my head's in the way. They're not always all together, but there will be a couple of bushbuck females within an area, and often you can see up to 3 or 4 of them together, but generally they are more solitary than, say, Inyala or Kudu. And basically, like Inyala and Kudu, the males are completely non-territorial unless there's a female in estrus. Then they will fight for mating rights. He's been having a nice mud bath. all the flies buzzing around him. Sorry guys, I realize I've just made a boo-boo, and a lot of you on Twitter and out on email are right that elephants lose their first set of baby tusks at about a year old, and they are literally 4 centimeters, so they're actually barely visible. And the second set of tusks that grow from about a year old will continue to grow through the rest of their life. I apologize for that. Thank you for keeping me honest, guys. Good evening, Sandy from Virginia. Sandy would like to know what is the name of the book I was looking at. Sandy, the book is called Smithers. It's written by a guy called Smithers. It's called Mammals of the... Wait, let me just double check the name for you there quickly. Where is it there? Sure. The Mammals of the Southern African Sub-Region. It's unfortunately no longer in print. It was produced by the University of Pretoria. It's got one of the most world-renowned zoology departments. And it was produced by the head of the zoology department a few years ago. As far as I know, they haven't released another one. I think the last printing of the book was in the late 80s. And it is a very difficult book to get your hands on. Stations there, an update on that position of Karikapa. What is the vehicle lineup in that position? Copy, thanks. So I'm not 100% sure where that position was, so just let me know when you get my audio, please. Thank you very much, Jan. Copy, thanks. Good evening, Larry from Indiana. Oh, let me just pick that up quickly. Oh, whoops. And I banged my head. Larry would like to know, when do young elephant bulls stop sort of play fighting and start fighting for real, and what would be the cause of that? That would generally be when they get older and start experiencing must and start competing for females. So they can have sort of serious fights from probably around 20, but only really serious fights from about 25 when they start competing for mating rights with the older animals. Just picked this up off the road. Pretty sure most people out there know what it is. This is a porcupine quill, southern porcupine. It's the largest rodent in Africa. And unlike popular myth, porcupines do not shoot their quills out at well, our porcupines don't, shoot their quills out at would-be predators. It's just a very effective defense strategy. Although they do get eaten by lion and leopard and hyena from time to time. Also make very, very good fishing floats. So, I think I have a little surprise for everyone. I couldn't help it. I've known about it all afternoon, but it's the right time of day to get there. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. I'm going to keep you in suspense for a little while longer. Oh, lovely sky. Message from Sil, who is from the Lions of the Sabi Sand. She said she was chatting to a friend of mine, Grant Beverly, who's in charge of the Endangered Wildlife Trust wild dog project in this area, and he says apparently the wild dogs are very close to Djuma, which is very good news, so I will get hold of them as soon as I get home to find out exactly where close to Djuma. But that is not the surprise, Sil, but very good guess. Confirm with the rhino. We're using a quill as a magic quill to find cats. Maybe I should give them my popcorn recipe. No, I just saw it on the road and I just dropped down to pick it up. I haven't been carrying it with me. But it did remind me of another interesting story. In Zulu folklore, the black rhino, because he spent so much time bashing around in the thickets, he tore a big hole in the side of his body, and he didn't know what to do because he kept getting flies and stuff in it. So he went to chat to the porcupine, and he asked the porcupine if he could borrow his quill to stitch up the hole. And he did a very good job, and he finished stitching the hole, and then he put it in his mouth, and he was carrying the quill to return it to the porcupine, and what happened is he tripped, and he swallowed the quill. And a black rhino's dung is always spread, they kick it out, unlike a white rhino, and the Zulu myth is that he's always looking for porcupine's quill to return it. Oh, we've arrived at the surprise. At the perfect time of day. What could it be? Dum dum dum. Dum dum dum. we have arrived at the surprise, and it's the perfect time of the day. It's our very good friend, Mr. Snarly Face. So let's see who can, with what I said and looking at him, let's see who gets which leopard this is. Remember, send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV or use the hashtag Twitter or on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. See who of you out there can identify which leopard this is. Two stations off Karikapa. I think everyone got it right. I think my Mr. Snarly Face comment gave it away. So very interestingly, this morning, well, I originally thought quarantine was Kunyuma. He came out of the same drainage line that we left Kunyuma in last night. And so until we sort of were able to spend a bit more time with him and figure out that it wasn't Kunyuma. So they were obviously, might have even been together or very close to each other last night. Oh, but we've arrived at the right time. Doesn't look like he's fed on anything since last night. So I'm hoping within the next 15 to 20 minutes he's going to get moving again. We're very, very close to Good evening, Happy Cub from Pennsylvania. Happy Cub would like such close proximity last night. I don't think so. They might try to steal each other's kills, but they wouldn't have a cooperative hunt. No, they wouldn't do a cooperative hunt together. Rodent species, there's bats. Your smaller felids, caracal, African wildcat, serval, jackal, sidestriped and black bat. And your your insectivores, your little shrew hog. Yeah. And don't forget the monkeys. To identify. Every letter of leopards is different. We can't have a set file.
End your day on
Of her moving, but now as it's getting darker, there's a very good chance of him starting to move. Fun. That was the plan, unless you have any other ideas. Good evening, Joan from Connecticut Drive. Joan would like to know are loners, or they will they rejoin the herd? There's a possibility they might rejoin the herd, but it's unlikely. They're herd in the herd, and they're not able to compete with the younger fitter bulls. So generally they will not rejoin breeding herds, although you sometimes join. Now Alex, just keep sending through questions, maybe till he moves. Good evening, Kay, from North Carolina. Kay is asking if there's been any word on the hyena dens. I'm pretty sure they're still there. We just haven't got around to that side of the property for a couple of drives. But I'm sure someone will check the hyena dens tomorrow. There we go, starting to do a bit of cleaning, which is quite often a good chance he might move quite shortly. not, just to prove me wrong. Good evening, Jill from the UK. Jill would like to know, at what age do elephants stop growing? Generally between 20 and 25, Jill, is when elephants stop growing. So the reason we're sitting here very patiently, even though that it's not a very good sighting of a leopard, and I know you guys who follow often have seen fantastic sightings of leopard, much better than this. The reason is that he is quite hungry, and there's a very strong possibility that he might hunt shortly. When is up to him. Obviously we have zero control on when that happens. But it's the right time of the day, we're in the right place, and there are prey species around, and we're not the only one. There's two other vehicles who have also been sitting here waiting patiently, quietly in the dark, waiting for him to get up and start moving. So this is the ideal time for any question that you've wanted to ask. Obviously can't get to all of them, but we will try to get through as many as possible. This is a great situation for you guys to ask questions while we are waiting next to an animal like this. So please send your questions through to questions@WildEarthTV, or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Good evening, Rita in Texas. Rita would just like us to mention the differences between quarantine and Kunyuma. Again, the ones that Brian and I were discussing earlier. Sorry. Brian's noticed that on quarantine's back, there's a very distinct sort of runway, so straight line of perfect rosettes parallel to each other just above his tail. His colour as well is a lighter colour, sort of more similar to Karula's colour, and then he's got a slightly bigger neck, and it's very difficult unless you see the tracks next to each other and they make them. I think his tracks are slightly bigger. His paws are slightly bigger, but that's just I can't prove it unless I actually have them walking next to each other and get to see both sets of tracks. For me, one of the most identifying aspects of Kunyuma is the colour as well. He's got a more sort of golden, a richer colour, more similar to Mvula. And also above his right eye, he's got a very distinct sort of double spot. But I don't know, for some reason I noticed that spot particularly. And then the main difference is just their reaction to the vehicles. Although since we've been here, Kunyuma hasn't really reacted at all. But normally he's got a bit more attitude. He snarls at the vehicle sometimes. He'll run up to a vehicle. He just seems to be a little bit more playful, for lack of a better word. Whereas Quarantine is just very relaxed, walks right up to the vehicles, walks past the vehicles. Whereas Kunyuma can be, sometimes he likes to jump around. In a couple of drives ago, he literally, from a sitting still position, leapt like a bounding kitten and stopped less than a meter away from my door. And he came from about 25-30 meters, and for no reason. He's just got a very interesting character, and that's actually why I think he's my favorite leopard of the ones we see here. And also he's the first leopard I found on foot, so well, at Djuma. Oh, we've got a little bit of movement there. Bit more preening and cleaning. Nothing further, just 3 stations off Garikatlan. He doesn't seem to be being very cooperative this evening. Well, we've been so spoilt with leopards recently. I think we're going to see if we can find something a little bit different or interesting in the last 20 minutes. If he's this flat now, I really don't think he's going to get mobile in the next 20 minutes. So we're going to go look at something a bit different. Try to find some of the other more interesting little nocturnal species. Leaving 2 stations off Garikatlan. Which one's brighter? That one. There we go. We got dual spotlight system tonight. So we got Brian and myself on spotlight due to the fact that we've only got one vehicle out. Hey, keep your light on your side of the road. No, I'm joking. Sure, guys, where are all your questions? Is everyone already in weekend mode? It might get dark enough that we can see a constellation or two just now. Oh, more buffalo. Confirm, Jim. Oh, where are you going, Mr. Duggar boy? Evening, Jim from Texas. Jin. Jin, sorry. Jin from Texas. Welcome with us this evening. Jin would like to know whether I've ever seen a black leopard. I have, once, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, with my mom and my little brother and 2 other kids, and my mom was busy taking us into the town of Kunyuma in northern Zululand, and a black leopard shot across the road in front of us. The only other black leopard images I've seen are on camera traps from the rainforest, but there's the only black leopard I've seen with my own 2 eyes. I'd love to see another one. Good evening, Chris from California. Chris would like to know if a leopard or lion has ever used my vehicle as a distraction for hunting. Yes, inadvertently a couple of times in the Sabi Sands. Leopards and lions in this area are quite well known for doing that. That kills them. If you guys remind me tomorrow, it's a bit dark now, I will show you a picture of a lion and leopards. Actually, I think we can use a light, huh? Let me just get a little bit away from the dam, away from the bugs, so we don't get swamped. But I'll explain anyway while we're going. So basically, there's a gap between the lions' canines and their incisors. And so basically the canines act as an anchor on the animal's throat, and that gap actually pinches the windpipe perfectly closed to suffocate them. So it's not the teeth that are doing the damage, it's that gap between the teeth is so specific for pinching a windpipe of an animal to suffocate them. On smaller stuff, a lot of animals will just use a bite to the head, using their canines to go straight into the brain. So like with duiker or young impala, things like that, they'll generally go for a skull bite rather than a suffocation hold. And then lions on buffalo, quite often they will use a nose hold. So they'll bite through the front of the buffalo's nose, and literally that causes it to pretty much drown. The blood, it bleeds into the nasal cavity, and when the buffalo tries to bleed, it takes blood into its lungs, but it's a very slow process, that one. And quite often with buffalo, there can be multiple. There can be a nose hold and be a throat hold. Although the problem with something as big as a buffalo, that suffocation hold isn't that effective as it would be on something like a kudu, for example. Good evening, Joyce and Carson. Hi Carson, I hope you're having a good time on the drive with us this evening. Carson is 6 years old, and he would like to know where we are going now and what we're looking for. Well, Carson, because the leopard was sleeping, we're going around trying to see if we can find some other interesting nocturnal animals like bush babies, genets and civets. So we're working our way around the edge of a big clearing called Quarantine Clearing, which is just a big open area. And we're working on the edge where the thicker area is to see if we can find some small and more interesting nocturnal mammals. And Carson, if you don't know what nocturnal means, it means animals that come out in the night time. So we're looking for nighttime animals with the spotlights. Okay, I think we should be far enough away from the bugs to have a look at the picture of how a predator's teeth work, or specifically the cats. Okay, you can see on a leopard skull here, that little gap there and there. So basically what happens is, between the incisors and the canines, when the leopard grabs onto a throat, which is like that, they use those canines, sink in an anchor, and then that little gap pushes the esophagus closed, like that, to stop them breathing. It might be a little bit more prominent on the lion just because the skull's bigger. Let me see what the picture's like on the lion. Where does the lion skull? There we go. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit more visible on the lion just because it's a bit bigger. See that gap there. Okay, there was one other thing I wanted to show you quickly. Where's it gone? Alright, I wanted to show you a hyena skull. So that's to show that they don't really use that method. They're more... there we go. That's a brown hyena, but it doesn't matter. Any of the hyena skulls. You can see how the gap's not as prominent, and also the canines are not as sharp. And you see they don't have those bigger incisors there to help close the gap. So you can see a hyena's a grabber and a puller rather than a suffocator, sort of just a warrior rather. Okay. Well, let me just reposition. I think it's dark enough. And just get ourselves facing away from the west and the ambient light left by the sun. Might be. Just turn around. Try to see the stars in my eyes. I'm just going to turn off all our lights for a second just so I can get my bearings. What is that? Oh, I'm flicking the wrong switches. Okay, let's have a quick look what we can see. It's going to be easy to explain. There's just a little bit too much ambient light there. Right. Which are you on the Southern Cross?
Yeah.
See, unfortunately the pointers are under a patch of cloud. Yeah. So that's the Southern Cross. The two pointers that point to the Southern Cross are actually unfortunately behind a cloud at the moment. But those two pointers are called Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri. And Alpha Centauri is actually a binary system. It's 2 stars, and the closest star to our solar system, apart from the Sun, obviously, which is our closest, is part of Alpha Centauri, and that is called Alpha Proximus, obviously for proximity. Let's try have a look. You can see on the ecliptic. It's right there. What have we got that side? We've got Orion. Do you want me to move the car? I'm trying to see Pleiades. It's still a bit early for Pleiades. We've got the false cross as well. Okay, just give Brian a second. Yeah, we're going to have to move a tiny bit. Okay. So we can see a lot more stars here. So when? There we go. We can see a lot more stars in the southern hemisphere than in the northern hemisphere. So those 3 stars that are very visible there, that's part of Orion's belt. And if you go over there, let's just watch that there. There's there's other little bit more, I think.
I can't go higher than that.
Oh, you can't, sorry. Okay, so that's Orion's belt. Off to the left-hand side of the screen is the sword. It's actually a very big constellation, takes up quite a lot of the sky. During the summer months, Orion is going to be our most common constellation that's seen. But coming through now, April, May, we'll start seeing Scorpio, which is a really magnificent one to have a look at. Quite easy to see in comparison, and quite easy to actually make out what it is. On that star that Brian has zoomed in on now, if you do see Orion in the northern hemisphere, if you have a telescope at home or even a pair of binoculars, have a look. You can actually see a Nova, I think it's called. Rusty. And it's called Betelgeuse, which is off there. And it's, if you've got a telescope, I mean, the colors are incredible. Pinks and purples and greens and we can do one more, just in case you guys ever really do get lost out here in the African bush. Might have to move again. Unfortunately, we only really see 3 constellations at this time of the year. Oh, what was that? Bat flying over my head. So we had a look at the Southern Cross that can help you find south if you use it with the pointers. And if you look up there, the False Cross, it's much bigger, and all the stars are sort of the same brightness. Whereas in the Southern Cross, the 3 lower stars are much brighter than the top star. So that's the False Cross. And it's actually just above the Southern Cross in the sky. But if you had to use that to find south, or actually you would end up going west. Now the big difference, tell the difference apart from the size of them, is the 2 pointers, which we unfortunately are behind clouds tonight. But on that note, guys, I think it's time for us to love you and leave you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a great afternoon. I had a wonderful time. I hope you guys did as well. And please join us again tomorrow morning. So from Brian and myself out here on the vehicle, and Alex, who is an FC, thanks very much, and have a great day or morning or evening wherever you might be in the world. And we will see you tomorrow. Cheers.